tuned into the show
that informs, improves, and inspires racers everywhere.
The Northwest Race Report. The Northwest Race Report, brought to you in part by TrueTech Automotive, Vancouver, Washington, home of the In the Family Racer Discount, and by Scott Seal Coat and Striping. For over 25 years, whether it's sealing or striping, you can count on Scott's. And by Product41.com. The Northwest Race Report is heard exclusively at TerryBridgesRacing.com. And now back to your horsepower and performance hosts, Terry Bridges, Glenn Tower, and Jeff Eden. All right, big win for the inaugural Micro Wingless Nationals at Salem Speedway. And I'm here with my guest, the winner of both days, Justin McConville. What's going on, Justin?
Not much. How you doing?
Great, man. So let's talk a little bit about the win this weekend. God, you won Saturday and Sunday. How much different was the racetrack on Sunday than it was on Saturday?
Well, on Saturday it felt like, the track was a little more tackier than Sunday. And on Sunday we pretty much went through a whole tire. We started out with a brand new groove tire and ended the race with what looked like an asphalt tire.
Wow. So did you
make
make any
difference in track?
Did you make any wholesale changes between Saturday and Sunday?
Not a lot. We felt like the car was a lot bouncier on Sunday morning and a little bit ending on Saturday night.
So what's the fix for something like that?
I think we just went for stiffer bars in the left rear and tied it down.
Sweet. So what were your thoughts about the number of cars? I mean, I know on Saturday there was a lot of cars there.
Yeah, on Saturday I felt like we had a pretty good path if we could get more green flag racing, but I think on Sunday we should have done a little smaller B main again, so that way there wasn't 17 or 18 cars on the track on Sunday.
Right.
But Saturday I felt like there was a great field.
Yeah, it was pretty
amount of cars.
Yeah, for sure. So you made a little money too, didn't you?
Yep, got a little tingle in my pockets now.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. That's really awesome. So, overall, how would you say this inaugural event was? I mean, was it? Would you say it's a success or?
Yeah, I thought it was well performed, and the amount of cars in each class was awesome. I like just about everything about it. It was great. I'd go again next year.
That's awesome. What's going on with you the rest of the year? Are you going to be racing? What are you doing? What's your plans?
We're going to do the series out at Sunset Speedway in Banks, and we're going to try and make it up to Deming for Clay Cup, possibly.
Ooh, man. Wow, that'll be awesome, man. That'll be really awesome.
Yeah.
So when's your next race?
Right now, I do not know. I think our next event is just going to be the Test and Tune Day at Banks.
Good deal. Well, Justin McConville, thanks a lot, man. Congratulations on that couple W's this week. I mean, you looked really good. I mean,
yeah.
You were definitely the class of the field. So congratulations, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You betcha. And we'll talk soon. Be sure you listen to the show tonight, all right?
All right.
All right, man. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye. All right, that was Justin McConville. A couple big wins this weekend at the inaugural 2018 Micro Wingless Nationals. Back to you guys. Oh, what is going on, racers? Welcome to another edition of the Northwest Race Report. I'm your horsepower and performance host, Terry Bridges. Sitting in with me, my main man, Mr. Glenn Lippett. Tower, what's going on, Lip?
It's all good in the hood tonight.
And how many days? Or should I say how many minutes?
Oh, no. I don't have it down to that. It's 34 working days.
Okay.
6 weeks, 2 days, and 7 more Fridays.
Whoa. The loader, Jeff Eden. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, looking forward to retirement. Hey, Renee, that was good news. You're cleared to go racing. Love it.
Woohoo. Awesome. Also with us tonight, live in the studio. It's pretty awesome having him. The man himself, Mr. Product41.com, Ronnie Swires. What's going on, Mr. Swires?
Not much, Terry. Nice being up here with you guys.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
hanging out in your hood tonight.
It's pretty awesome.
Right? Yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
for the hospitality.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the reason Brett called you a cheater?
Yeah, he's P1 tonight.
Who's P1?
Mr. Swires.
Oh.
Backdoored everybody.
He did. Oh, look at that.
I threw them all off.
Who was second?
Brett Meyer, I believe.
No,
Tammy.
DW.
DW, and then Brett Meyer.
And Ernie Confer. He's in the top. He's in the top 4. He's in the top 5. That's pretty good. Yo. Sean Carr. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, Renee Angel. And, yeah.
Mr. Kelso.
Mr. Daryl Kelso. What's up, man? Hey, we got a good show for you. I'm going to engage you in a question. We're going to have a pretty good debate. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be able to fill in on this. But first of all, I'm going to run through this weekend. Micro Wingless Nationals. Yeah. Not bad. Let's see here.
Good turnout.
Toby Ferrando, Papa Tom, Rick Wagner, Pro 4. Danny Altum, Mike Michelson streak ends at 3 as Altum takes the win. Michelson second, Clayton Parsons third. You should have seen it, though. Altum and Michelson went like 2 laps side by side through the thing. It was pretty good.
Nice.
Leadfoot Levi Klatt wins the micro restricted. Jojo Battaglia and Colin Mackey. Becca Clark was 7th on Saturday. Seth Anderlini and Bryce Bezanson round out the top 5. Open cage, Kyle Cormican, Jeff Eklund. I haven't seen him before. He looked good. He looked really good. Lane Taylor was 3rd. Devin Borden 4th. Eric Schofield 5th. It was shorted on time. So we'll get to that in a minute. Micro 600 Open. The first night of the 2000 win, paid down 5 spots. McConville's your winner. Guess who was second?
Go Fish.
Devin Borden.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, he rolled. They were going hard. I mean, they were going hard. It was pretty awesome. Joe Carter from Los Banos, California, was 3rd. Hunter Stanley 4th. Victoria Wolf 5th. Good for her. Seth Anderlini 6th. David Ward, he was impressive. He got Sunday he got messed up, but he really ran good. Harley Aguilera was 8th. Levi Klatt 9th. And Bailey Jean Sucic round out the top 10. On Sunday, a lot of people left. We'll get to that in a minute. Pacific Mini Sprints Association. Doug Pirtle, Greg Greer, Paul Sinjic, Taylor Sayer, Dean Prather. That's your top 5. Beginner box. Jake Waldahl wins that. That's in the Subaru division. He was flying. In the non-Subaru, Dylan Wilcox, Micah Crowling, Jesse Henry, and Connor Foster. Get this box stock. Bubba Sucic wins it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good job.
Seth Waldahl was 2nd. Nevaeh Hull 3rd. Colin Mendez 4th. And Ashley Borden 5th. She was fast. She just got hung up back there. Yeah, Mendez ran good.
They're tough customers.
Yes, they are. 125 went to Cole Borden, Zach Massey, Jerry Fonfera, Dustin Asher, and Christopher Sywick. That's your top 5. 250 cage, Gage Ferrando, monster. He beat Skylar Weinbarger.
Wow.
And I mean, beat him. Seth Riggs was 3rd. Great run for Seth Riggs. I was so impressed. He has improved so much. I just couldn't believe it. Nevaeh Hull 4th. Anthony Prather 5th. Micro restricted Levi Klatt. Colin Mackey. Bryce Bezanson. Becca Clark was 4th.
Oh, good show.
Mason Deneen 5th. Justin Jacobson. Taylor Sayer. And Brody Ferguson did not start. Open cage. Eric Schofield. This was on Sunday. 10 or I thought there was 13 that started, but either way, they started. 5 finished. Schofield, Cormican, Kate Jackson, Mark Vonslid, and Devin Barnes was 5th.
Wow.
600 open. McConville wins it. 2 for 2. Michael Millard from Bremerton was second. Hunter Stanley was third. Bailey Jean Suchich fourth. Kai Dixon fifth. They had 17. Alex Reich was fast. He had one of McConville's backup motors in there. And on Saturday, he was fast. He just got hosed because he got crashed. So they had to go back to the drum board. The other guy that was super fast in the cage carts was McLean Bedoin. He was a missile. But he kind of had some issues too. But so that was the Micro Wingless Nationals. That was the inaugural. I can say now the first annual because it's in the books. But here is the question. How does Salem get a race in? Salem has tried 18, 16, 14, 12, and even 10 carts. On Sunday, started 10 carts, 5 finished. Salem has enforced time limits. They have dropped flags from 3 to 2, meaning if you spin twice, 2 and you're through. Started showing the black flag more. Showing and waving are 2 different things, I think. And Salem still can't get a race completed. They get 20 laps or 15 minutes. They went an extra 15 minutes, so they got 30 minutes and only got 10 laps in. Is it? So the question is it Salem's fault the racers can't get a race in? This past weekend, Salem was told that it was their fault. So we'll start with
How?
This
is my thing. That Salem provides you the facility.
Absolutely.
You're out with your butt in the seat with the steering wheel, the gas pedal on the right, the brake on the left.
Yes. I feel the same way. To throw them under the bus and say that it was in their court and they didn't handle a good race is out the window. It's been coming. It's not Salem's fault. It's the racer's fault, I think. You know, you are in control of your ride when you're out there. Regardless of what it is, you're in control of it. And they're not. They start the race, they finish the race. What happens in between is totally up to whoever's in whatever's out on the track. And if they're going to, do what they've been doing, then it's going to end up the way it is. And, yes, they can throw more black flags, but all that's going to do is make them, the racer that says it's all their fault, the bad guy. So, it's a double-edged sword. It's sad. I don't think that they deserve that, because the racing and the racers have gone downhill. It's turned into more of a bump and crash than a race and pass.
Well, Red Bluff. There, go back to Red Bluff. You had Kyle Larson and some of them guys that have been sponsoring races there. They took their money out of there because everybody will Christ their own mother to win.
Yep.
No. Kyle Larson said he was embarrassed. Rico Abreu said he was embarrassed by the way the racers were racing down there.
Yeah, Wheeler's not even there anymore.
So,
Mr. Swires, you got any feedback on that?
Just a little bit. We talked before the show about this too, and my only point was, I agree that it's not Salem's fault at all, but Salem needs to look at what they have control over. That's throwing the flags. If you have to get the racer regrouped up, how much time does that take? If it takes them a minute to get the racers around, and it shouldn't, or it didn't, I don't know.
It did not. It's entirely too long, in my opinion.
But either way, if it takes them a minute, and the guys racing crash 15 times and cost them 15 minutes, the track has a certain amount of time it takes to get them back in that order. So I'm not saying it's the track's fault at all. It still is the racer. You can choose to crash you guys 15 times. You can crash once. So it takes time to get those guys back in order. I get it. But to say it's the track's fault, absolutely, I would not agree with that one bit.
Yeah.
It's a great point. It does take time for that to happen, and especially with they have a scoring system, so they can go back to the next lap. But still, that does take time to relay down to the racers and to the flagmen to tell who goes where. But still, that's not the whole cause of the problem by any means. It's not giving the guy the liberty in the first corner on the green flag. It's just every man for himself and plow your way to the front. And it is short track. It is indoor racing. You really can't get away from that. But everybody doesn't give anybody anything. There is no respect.
Did you see what Renee just posted?
Yeah, she said the racers complain it takes too long for the officials to get lined up. I was on the radio Sunday, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
So
they have receivers, right?
Yeah, and it comes down to Renee's raced at a lot of places, so she if anybody's going to know what takes too long, what doesn't,
she would know.
She would know.
Mm-hmm. Ernie Conver says you have brakes for a reason.
Yep.
And the guys behind you have to remember that too.
Absolutely.
And only other thing that I could see, if the receiver deal doesn't seem to be, they're not lining up right, stop right here.
Well, now,
boom, 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 boom. End the story. Next lap, you're running.
That being said, there was something brought up that said, okay, if the receivers, that's dependent upon strictly the receivers. In some of the things that I heard the comment, great, the receivers are great, but have a whiteboard there, and you can just put the numbers down where they need to go and hold the whiteboard up, and that's what they do in a lot of other places that have receivers as well. They use the receivers and the whiteboard. So that way, if maybe you didn't hear it or you were, spaced out or whatever, you come by, you'll see the board, you'll know who you go behind.
And that's not a bad idea. Who's going to ride on the whiteboard? And can you guarantee the racers are going to be looking at it?
Well,
because right now you got one guy in the stand typically, right? So somebody has to be riding, watching.
Yeah, but you got the stand, you got the scoring booth. You can have somebody right at the scoring booth.
Or he's got radios. He can just write them, scribble them down.
Write it down and just hang it over the fence right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yep.
I mean, it's one other person, but if you want an honest opinion on how to get them lined up faster, that's my way of doing it. Either that or you stop them. They come around, you stop them. You're 1, 2, 3, 4, and done.
The best way to do it is just say, you're told to line up behind if you don't line up behind the 38,
to the back.
You're just done.
See ya.
Get out of here.
Yep.
You're off. You're
See
done.
ya.
We'll move the next guy up, and maybe that will, encourage or entice somebody to do that, because they spend too much time giving second and third chances. My deal is, honestly, the driver's meeting is your one and only warning. You know what's going on. If you've paid attention to the driver's meeting, they tell you what's happening. My deal is that is your one and only warning, and you don't get another one. You shouldn't need another one. You already know what's going on. You know what the problem is. I say, I say that and they give way too many chances. I mean, honestly.
Renee must be she's trying to get Ronnie wound up. Back east flat cart starts single file, and you can't pass until the cone in turn 2.
Yeah, that's dumb.
But it also gets everybody not wrecking in turn 1, which seems to be the flipping issue down there.
Well, maybe what they should do is move the flagger down and start the thing right when you get close to turn 1. Maybe that's an answer. So you don't have that whole straightaway. I don't know, but then the problem will be in turn 3. So.
The thing of it is, it still comes down. I still say it comes down to the racer. You got a throttle pedal, you got a brake pedal, and if you're going to start, if that's the way you got to drive, you don't need to be there.
Well, I just don't understand. I mean,
pushing and shoving.
That's it. And okay. And then somebody says, they said, if there was 2 grooves, you might not have as. There's never a top groove, or there's never anything up top. Well, I don't know. Is there something to be said for that? I don't know. I mean, even if it was there, would anybody use it?
Grooves are made by using it. If you don't use it, it won't be there. So that's my theory on that. and down in Phoenix, they make you practice on the second groove and then move you down to the bottom groove before the race starts or when the race starts. Yeah. So that's something to consider. But again, for me, it all boils down to lack of respect. Nobody respects the space. They use you for a berm, and they crash their way to the front.
Flagger needs to step up. Send them to the back.
Yeah, this. Send them to the back or home. One or the other.
Who was I talking to? They were saying the flagger is the guy. Really, he's the guy in control of the thing, and he's gotta nut up and not worry about who he's gonna tick off, and just say, and that goes for a lot of things. I mean, there's the starts, right, and then there's also throwing cautions when the guy spins and he loops around and it's instantly a caution. That's foolish.
Yep.
That's not right. I mean, you can always throw the yellow. You just can't ever bring it back. And that is the biggest problem that affects the outcome of the race. Some guy's got a straightaway lead and you go throwing some yellow just because you saw some guy spin and the guy spins out and keeps going. You've just cost that guy a huge advantage that he has earned on the racetrack. That's not right.
And that's one thing. And I still go back to when I first started in this area race or down there racing was Bill Arnold. Bill took no prisoners from nobody. Right or wrong, when Bill said it, that's what you were going to do. And there was no questions asked. I mean, he'd come off the stand, he'd point one time at you. The second time, you were parking. In the story, he didn't care.
Right.
He didn't care if it was Bob Jeffries or Jeff Eden or Terry Bridges. It didn't matter. If you didn't do it, you parked.
And there was also times where you got took out and he gave you your spot back.
Exactly.
So, somebody, I think Bergfeld had said, well, we don't have time for that, so everybody involved is just going to go to the back. Well, crap, that's fine if it's early on, but if you're like second or you're the leader and some guy wallops you, and it's not even your fault, and you don't get your spot back, that's a...
And Ernie just said a pet peeve of mine. This happens at the dirt track all the time. And they would not, if you sat there and they throw the yellow and then you take off, you just as well drive on into the pits because I'm not playing.
They do that a lot.
Yeah, they do.
They'll spin off in the infield and get going, and they'll come onto the track and go boom.
Yep.
And
spin and sit. You can sit over by your trailer.
Yep.
Yeah, that shouldn't even be a shouldn't even be a question. That should just be automatically you're done.
That's a favorite one at Grays Harbor.
See you done.
Yep, that's a deal. Well, so I guess the question is, it's unanimous that it's probably not Salem's fault, correct?
Well, I don't think it's Salem's fault. If Salem wants to make things better, what they're going to have to do is just like you said, they're going to have to man up, and instead of waving the black flag, they're going to have to start penalizing people with it. And the more you penalize people, the less people are going to do what they're doing, because you don't want to be taken out of the race. But if you just keep pointing at them or pointing the flag at them and you don't actually do anything to them, it's not going to change. So, and believe you me, I'm a promoter, I'm a race director, I know how it is. I don't like to do it either, but it's what it's coming to, because if we don't start doing something with it, we have lost control of it. And it doesn't matter whether it's wingless or whether it's the KT class. It really doesn't matter. But it is getting to the point where it's out of control, because nobody wants to do anything about it. They just want to complain. And that's not going to cut it anymore. We've got to make changes. We've got to penalize people. We've got to send them home, park them in the pits, whatever it may be, to get our mission statement home. We want to race. We don't want to wreck.
Well, Renee made a good point where she said, when the age limit was 16 years old, like when she started, it wasn't as much of a problem. Now, that's saying the younger kids are maybe some of the cause of that. I don't know. I don't know if there's any truth to that.
Send the 50 to the back. That's all I care about.
It always happens.
Yeah.
It always happens. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel that at 15 or 16, they don't make good decisions. But then again, I've got people that are 40 and don't make good decisions. So where do you draw the line?
Yeah, exactly, because that's what they say. You say, well, the age limit, for the wherever it is, the Focus people, the UAS, the whatever it is, they've got, it's 18 or it's 16 or whatever, and it's like, so you know what? Well, then I say, well, so you've got a 16-year-old that's got 7, 8, 9, 10 years under his belt, has been racing, and he's probably ready, but he can't do it because he's not 16. But yet, some guy can come in there that's 31 years old, never seen a race car, and decide he wants to go racing, and he can go run.
But
I mean,
and it comes, and I guess one way to put it is, in one of our young men, Devin Borden, can't race a midget, but he can race a 360 sprint car.
That's my point. And how young can you be to run a 360? 14?
14. I've seen Trey Stark started at 14 or 15.
And see, that is our other problem. Okay, so we're going to say, all right, fine, you have to be 18 years old to run UAS, or do you have to be that to run any of the other classes? That's fine. They'll just take themselves and their money to the other place and run. And this is a problem for karting, a big problem for karting, because every father wants to live vicariously through their 14-year-old kid. Yeah, sure, they are a good driver, but can they make good decisions? They can drive good on the track by themselves and make phenomenal laps. But you put 10 other people around them with less than an inch of air gap on any corner of their cart, they're not going to make the same good decisions.
What about the 28-year-old that has never raced a thing in his life, and he just decides he's going to go do it? And he gets to go run. You put him out there, it's probably going to be maybe even worse. I don't know. I mean,
mayhem.
Guys, bottom line, it's racecraft.
Yeah.
People have to learn racecraft, not just driving fast.
And speaking of that, like with what you do, is how young can a kid go out on a road course with a?
I think 16 now.
I mean, I can understand 16. You got to drive. You can get a driver's license.
Mm-hmm. True.
I can understand 16. But 14, 15, I'm a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well, and the karting stuff teaches them typically, and it teaches them the racecraft.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
So when they move to the bigger cars, but still, there's no substitute for experience.
But you can get that experience in a lower class instead of jumping to the top notch of that. That's where sometimes I wonder if we don't move them along too fast.
Sure. Most cases we do.
I'm going to try to get this in. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. We'll be discussing more on is it Salem's fault the racers can't get a race in? We'll be right back.
You check your shop list, you check off things on your racing to-do list, and you constantly check your micron at the racetrack. But what about when that little check engine light comes on in your car, truck, or tow vehicle? Do you check that or just ignore it? Most can't be bothered, but there is nothing worse than breaking down on the way to a big race or vacation getaway. It's time to start treating and checking your car, truck, or tow rig the right way with a visit to TrueTech Automotive for a preventative maintenance service before it costs you more than that big race or vacation getaway you're looking forward to. With 10 service bays, NAPA-certified car care technicians, along with award-winning customer service, TrueTech gives you one less thing you have to check.
Get it done right the first time with the right parts at the right price. And how's this for right? Use the discount code NWRR and receive TrueTech's In the Family Racer discount of 25% off all preventative maintenance and vehicle repairs. Just another way, TrueTech has been helping their customers keep their vehicles in check since 2008. TrueTech Automotive, 6900 Highway 99, Suite A, Vancouver, Washington. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. 360-571-2302. All right, so we've been talking about Salem Speedway and trying to get a race in. I mean, I think when you go an extra 15 and you still only get 10 laps in, I mean, you're right. It's pretty obvious where the problem lies. But what about this? Think about this one for a minute, because this is what the Gold Cup used to do, and they were almost always on the number, right? And we'd start qualifying at almost noon, and everybody get 3 heats, and we were almost always done by 5:30. What if you went by, instead of going by laps, you went by time? So you went, like what they did. They would go, they'd figure out the track, whatever, and they'd say, we're going to go 8 minutes plus 1. And the plus 1 was the after. Everybody goes through the flag, and it gives you the minute to get everybody off the track, and the next class would go, and it'd be 7 minutes. Then they gave you the day sheet, right? You'd say, okay, we're going to start qualifying at this, boom, 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 and then the first heat race is going to be this at 107. So-and-so is going to go out at 10.
Here we go.
Your favorite drivers and people of interest in the motorsports world. It's time for In the Seat, powered by Blue Line Graphics. All right, our Blue Line Graphics In the Seat live guest tonight as we continue our chassis month. We're in round 3. We've got one of the gentlemen from Legend Chassis. Now, let me tell you, they've got a 2 and a 4-stroke division, and his name is Bryan Nevins Jr. What's going on, Bryan? How you doing, man?
Good, and you guys?
Doing good. I don't know. Had you been tuned into the show? Did you hear any of the beginning of it?
Yes, I was actually just kind of waiting to make the phone call in so I could chime in on that.
What? Yeah. what are you thinking on that?
And just kind of what you guys said. It's not really the racetrack's fault. It's more or less the flagman kind of needs to step up and make more calls. We've had a couple of issues back here in Iowa and all that with that, where it just come to a point. Flagman finally said, the next weekend, hey, there's no more warnings. You guys are just going to get black flagged. And we had a incident in Nebraska where we were just told one more issue and we're done. You shut down the show. So it's back to, like you guys said again, back to the respect part of it. And man, it woke us up as adults to show that the kids are what's watching us, and they drive like us, and they actually did a better job than us at the Nebraska show. So.
Mm-hmm. So now let me ask you though. So now, if you have a race director and you have the flagger, now to me there could be some confusion as to who is really in control. I mean, is the director the guy that's supposed to make those calls and let the flagger know, or is it vice versa? I don't. There's a power, not a struggle, but just a who's calling what.
Agreed. A lot of people sit there and do the power struggle a lot. One of the series that we ran back when I was a junior had a race director, and some shows they fought it, some shows was absolutely run smooth. It just kind of depended on what the opinion was, and we fought that a lot with taking a lot of time to get lined back up and who caused the wreck and all that. They finally come down to a rule where if you were involved in it, you went to the tail. There was no questions about it, and that solved a lot of the problems.
Yeah. It's too bad for some guys who maybe they spin to avoid that mess, right? And so they end up going, and it's really no fault of their own, so they get punished for it. But yeah, it's a like Lippy said, it's a double-edged sword, no doubt about it. I mean, it's
It is, and there's no real winners in it, but the real thing is it boils down to a lack of respect by the racers and, not a willingness to make things work. It's just everybody for themselves in the first lap, and nobody realizes that we got 20 or 25 laps out there to make it happen, and everybody wants to make it all happen in the first corner on the first lap, and ain't nothing won there.
Well, and before we get into this chassis segment, I did hear a comment was, well, okay, that's great. We need to start, we can't get this thing on time, but if we're going to fix it, there needs to be more black flags, because what the racers are saying is they're saying, hey, we've had 3 races here that we haven't gotten more than 6 or 8 laps in, and they're going to call it. So I'm going to get up there as quick as I can. I'm going to so it just breeds more of that same thought process, I guess, is
mentality.
Yeah. Lippy, it's all you, baby.
So, Bryan, first of all, you are Legend Chassis 4-stroke guru. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been kart racing, and how long have you been with Legend?
I started with Legend back in 13, full house ride with them guys. Tom Will was actually kind of the main distributor here, and we got hooked up. I went to work for him in 2010. We made the new kart, the Matrix M1, and we went through a process with that where I was still riding with Ultramax. We came back to in 2012. He had Stevie Smith riding for him in 2 years, and we got all the way to 2012 with it. And they had a really impressive year. And then my deal ended up with Ultramax coming to an end at the 2012 season. And I jumped on board with Tom on the M3. We were running 2 national events through the whole year, and we ended up 35 wins with it. Been racing for about 26 years, and as soon as I jumped on the Legend program, we really stepped up our program tremendously with Tom and Joel and everybody at Legend. We got really rolling there, and I just kind of taken over from there with it. Tom ended up selling out, and I took over doing all the design work for him, and we just kept on kind of continuing from there.
Hey, Bryan, where are you at? You're kind of breaking up a little bit.
I'm sitting in the house.
Okay.
So you've got a little bit of a side business going on there as well. You do most of the R&D work for the 4-cycle portion of the Legend chassis, but you've also got a tire treatment business. You want to tell us a little bit about that? What goes on there?
Well, me and Dad started our company about 5 years ago. We've been doing a lot of R&D way before that when I was a kid as a junior, working with Tom, a little bit there on that program. But we decided 5 years ago to start Assassin Tire Solutions, kind of just a program that we had put together, and we finally pulled the trigger on it. And we've got about 5 surface preps that we use right now here in the Midwest, 1 internal. And right now, customers are absolutely loving it. Mainly, it's just designed for the Midwest. We're starting to expand out from the Midwest, starting to move each way, west and east. Just kind of rolling with it as tires change. We keep changing to the program, just to keep as updated as much as we can with the tires. We treat Vegas, Maxxis, Hoosiers, Unellis. We haven't messed with the Kings yet because nobody up here runs them. But that's pretty much to cover the bases. I'm the face of it. The old man works hard in the shop during the day, and then I come in at night and take back over so he can get out of there.
25 years of experience, so that's saying something there as far as tire treatment and as a racer goes. So you guys are a full service, right? You guys cut, treat, and mount tires, correct?
Yep. We do the whole works. I do most of the cutting. Most of the development on the prep side is Dad. And then I just bring in the new look of stuff. Well, kind of where we need to look at changing our program up to keep, the edge on the competition. And then we just sit there and all the prep, mounting and all that, he kind of takes care of that during the day. And then all the cutting stuff is at night for me when I can just sit in the shop and tinker and keep trying to evolve our programs moving forward.
Nice.
I got a question. What's the biggest difference between a 4-cycle chassis and a 2-cycle chassis? Is it the tube size or the tube placement or?
There's a lot that we do. Jason Lindgren, which you guys are talking to next weekend, can really touch base on this too. Me and him bounce a lot of ideas. Both carts are kind of the same platform. There's a little bit of difference on the front ends. There's difference in the rear ends, what we've done. But the kind of the main belly side of the chassis, I guess, right up there under the seats, mainly the same. With the new cart that I brought out, the Assassin, I have changed up what the right side rail is for the cart. His HP cart is different from what we have brought out this year. And then this Assault that we brought out, which is our cage cart, is still the same base platform as what the HP or the Matrix M5 was, but it's just a different tubing that we decided to go with for the cage cart stuff. But the new Assassin, we've done about, so I'm going to say probably about 4 months R&D on it before the end of the year came for us outdoor season, and absolutely tickled pink with the cart. We took it indoor racing and just still trying to fine tune of what I want to give to the customer. But it's just been right at get-go extremely fast. We took it to Newton testing with it, and it was 4/10 faster than what we had prior years. A lot more better of a consistent feel in it. Just kind of an overall better package brought to, the Vega program. It didn't matter what tire we put on it, Vegas, Maxxis, Hoosiers, Unellis. Just the overall grip in the cart was a lot better.
That's awesome. Well, last week, I know Jason Williams from Charger said something that I thought was really interesting. And he said, with everything being tire, they needed, it's coming to where we've got to do something with the chassis or whatever, so they're not just so tire dependent, I guess is kind of what he, in a nutshell, that's what he said. Do you agree with that?
I do agree. I mean, each tire company's different. They take just a little bit of a different setup, especially like when you're going from Burris to Maxxis, from Maxxis to Vegas, and just so forth. So you have to make the go-kart very versatile to be able to fit those, but not change a whole bunch on the cart. And that's what we've been doing here for about the last 3 years. I've been trying to find a real versatile cart so I don't have to change a ton on the chassis to make it, just as fast as it was on Maxxis or just as fast as it was on Vegas. We've been really striving to make a customer-friendly go-kart. Just the simple fact I've been in that era where it was all tires, and now it's to the point where our tire program is real simple. We've had customers that aren't even on our tire program but on our chassis are able to just put a set of numbers in it and fine-tune right there, and it don't matter what tire that we put on it. They're able to change, maybe 2-3% washers across, or go up on left or go up on rear, just kind of to suit their program of how the driver wants it. And it's just been absolutely awesome with the M5. They've been able to do that. I mean, I've had customers call me and say, hey, the go-kart's a little tight up out of the corner. And I'll tell them 2 washers across out of the go-kart. And they'll call me back, an hour later and say, man, what a difference that was. And, I'd be like, hey, what kind of tires are you on? Just so I can have a mental note of it. And I've had one customer that's been running up north, and he'll tell me, we sent him up there on the standard numbers as a little itty-bitty bull ring, and he says, I can't get the go-kart turn. And from knowing bull rings before, racing back in the day, I said, hey, let's take all the cross-side go-kart, let's try it. And he ended up winning, I think it was 13 shows back-to-back up there.
Wow.
And he never changed. Oh, go ahead.
With no crossweight in it.
With no crossweight in it. It was just one of them little, it was just so high banked, but knowing how versatile the cart is, just being able to flip the cross in it, and he picked right back up to where he was when he was running a big track with the high cross. And he just couldn't believe just being able to change the cross like that, pick the go-kart up. He never changed camber, caster, left side weight, or rear. Ran the same stagger numbers as what he'd run on the big racetrack. And he was just tickled pink about how versatile that cart was.
Wow.
That's a pretty forgiving chassis.
That's a damn forgiving chassis.
Wow.
Yep.
So
I deal with that on a daily basis with customers.
For sure. I'm sure you get the gauntlet of it won't work. So that's a testament to what you guys are bringing to the table for sure. So as far as the Matrix goes, you were pretty much involved with that from the inception of it getting going?
Yep, I was hands-on with them. I actually did a lot of the assemble when we were at Tom's shop with them. and me and Tom did a lot of talk. I wasn't able to do a lot of the R&D from 2010 to 2013, but as soon as we started in 13, I was strictly doing all the R&D. Me and Tom literally had the best way to communicate with it would be Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson. That's kind of our communication skills were. And we developed that cart all the way through 13, and I don't remember how many wins that go-kart had on. I still actually got it in the shop hanging up as a memory, just to kind of remind me, hey, go back to your roots of what you know instead of trying all this weird stuff. And we sit there. It's been quite a while since Tom left, but we're still trying to revamp everything and keep going. Just kind of taking over with the M4 when it came out in 14. We changed the whole front hoop on that cart, but left the same base part. And then when the M5 came out, we did a little bit of front end geometry change of where we were placing stuff, but left the same base platform as what we had for the M5. And we ran with the M5 up until, like I said, 4 months before the new year there, and I decided to bring out a new cart, something that I'd been kind of wanting to try for about a year. And we brought it out, and man, right off the get-go, that thing took off. And it is the same base platform as like what the Matrix is, just the right side rails have been changed. And that go-kart has just been on fire since we unloaded it.
And so this would be the Assassin you're talking about now then, right?
Yep, that would be the Assassin. We decided to change the name up on it just to try to get some more interest, and the simple fact that we're just the interest, I guess, is the best way to put it. Get everybody looking at something new.
Sure, I can get on board with that for sure. You know, you're getting more interest, more involvement. So you're saying that the biggest changes you made to it were in the right side tubes. Any other changes you made in it? The waist of the car, the front end. Any other thing you guys changed that made it a better cart?
We changed the locations of the right front on it. I really don't want to go in details because I think that's kind of where our secret is right now.
Yep.
But we did change the location where the right front is from where our other previous carts were. And we've noticed a ton more corner speed with it. And that was the biggest thing that I got the compliment of people watching is the corner speed of it. And that's one thing that at Legend we've, kind of strived about is having more corner speed than what anybody else can kind of carry. And that was kind of Tom's theory, and I've kind of stuck with it is corner speed gets you a better launch up off corner. And that's the one thing that I've kept in mind is we've got to get through the corner. Everybody can get down straight away with HP, on the horsepower side of it, but if you can get through the corner better than the next guy, you're going to make up time and be a little bit better than everybody else. And that's what we've really strived for. And that's what I put all my knowledge and actually referring back to Tom back into this Assassin. And we've talked about a lot of stuff on it, but I think the secret is in that right front, but I just can't tell exactly what I did to it.
Yeah, and I don't want you to.
I got a
what happened to Tom? That's what I want to know.
Wait a minute.
He actually decided to retire after, I think he's been doing it since '89.
Okay.
Building motors, and he got burned out pretty quick on it there for a while. And we got him back going again, and he decided he sold out the business, sold out TR Racing Engines to it's S&S Speed Labs now, and kind of just he's went back farming. That's kind of where Tom's is, but he's still around. He still calls in and sees how everything's going, but just kind of he's retired and relaxing now.
Sweet, Ronnie, go ahead.
Hey, Bryan, question for you guys. I hear manufacturers talk about R&D and testing and coming from the sports car side, my background's a lot of sports car stuff and go-karting. I'm a nuts and bolts kind of guy. I like to understand what you guys do. If you go to you say, well, we do R&D. Do you take 4 different go-karts to the track and you have a schedule and you say, we're going to start with go-kart A that might have these tube placements in this certain position, and we're going to run X tire, B tire, these pressures, and then we're going to do the same thing on chassis B, C, and D? Or you take 6 to the track, or you just take 1? How does that whole R&D testing program work for you guys? That's always intriguing to me, how, to understand how you guys do that.
The way we do our R&D is pretty much based off of me. I'll design a chassis. I'll talk to Joel with it. We'll go back to the drawing board if he wants to change something that I didn't see. And then I'll sit there and we'll redraw it up. We'll get it produced. It'll be sent to me, and I'll go test with it. And actually, what we did with this new cart is we actually cut it up at my shop and put some new bars in it, and tried just some different stuff on it, doing all the cutting here at the shop. And that's where the Assassin become actually produced, where we're going to be at it. And the thing, that's just kind of how we do it. We don't build 4 or 5 carts at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I just cut up a chassis is the best way to put it. Unless it's a main rail, then I'll have Joel build a new prototype. But if I can cut a seat bar out of it, or change the right side bar just a little bit, then that's what I'll do. Unless it's a major change on a main frame rail, like a front hoop or the main right rail or the left one, then I have Joel build a whole new chassis. Just trying to revamp our program. We're not trying to build a ton of chassis that are just, we know that's not going to work.
Right. So you don't just put, have your designs of, say, okay, I've got a really good idea, but this chassis tube might be better in this position, in this, weld up 2 of them, or make changes, as you say, cut up a chassis and put it back together, a couple of them that are different, then go to the track and test those 2 back to back. Or is it all just, it's done in house and you go to the track and you run, and kind of one of the time type deal?
I barely heard you, bud.
I'm sorry. Is that what you're saying? You don't start with multiple chassis. You just take one, make some changes, go to the track, run it, take notes, come back. Is that how you guys do that?
Yep. We build one go-kart, and it just sits there. And if I say I go to Newton that weekend and test with it, I'll bring it back to the shop. I'll give all the information to Joel. We'll do a lot of conversations about it, and then I'll sit there and be like, okay, what can I change to fix my issue if I'm having, if the go-kart just seems really tight on the right side, what can I change on it? And if it's just a minute change of, say, moving the L block 3/8 of an inch forward, if I can't do that, then I call Joel and say, hey, we need a new front. We need to do this different on the front end. And Joel will actually build a whole new cart at that point. And then we sit there and we'll take that cart and we'll run it. And if it fixed the problem, then I call Joel and say, hey, we fixed it. Now I want to try this.
Gotcha.
And it's just kind of one of the deals. I'm in Des Moines and Joel's up in Sioux Center. So it's kind of hard for us both to be sitting at the shop going, okay, we need to do this and this.
Sure.
So it's mainly more conversation over the phone. But Joel is absolutely awesome to work with. I wouldn't want to work with anybody else through this whole thing. He's got a lot of knowledge. He used to race back in the day, actually, so he's got a ton of chassis knowledge. But it's just, that's how we do our R&D, is if I don't have to build multiple go-karts, I can just build one right at get-go and fine-tune it if, I need to change a bar here or there.
Sure.
I can do all that stuff here and get it re-welded back in. And that's how our R&D started with me, is I just called Joel up, said, hey, I want to change the front hoop. What's it going to take? And that was with the M4. We changed it. The go-kart was actually a rocket ship. And then Maxis decided to switch tires up on us again, and we had to go back to the drawing board and brought out the M5.
Nice.
Always comes back to the tires, doesn't it?
Yep.
Right?
They seem to make our world go around. There's no doubt about that.
You're trying to build something so it's not so tire dependent, and then they change the tire, and guess what?
It's all over.
Back to the tires again.
Yep.
So with the Assault, how long has the Assault actually been out?
That go-kart was actually built about 3-4 years ago, and it was something that me and Rail had talked about, and my dad was kind of in on the conversation, and we built it. I was not too opposed to it, We put it together. I raced it about 3 times, and then I told Joel, I told Tom, I told my dad, I said, don't put me ever back in that cart. I said, I'm done riding that thing, and we put it up on the shelf. And this past year, we were doing the Hoosier Adrenaline Series, which has now become the Adrenaline Series. And we were running the 206 motor, just having a blast on Sundays. And they had a cage cart portion of it with a 206. Well, my birthday came around down in Knoxville. We ended up winning another 206 motor, and we decided to see what we could do to put a cage cart together. A good friend of mine had a cage cart. We ran the cage on I decided to pull out that prototype, is what we called it at the time, and we put it together. And for 7 races now, that thing has not been beat. And I told Joel, I said, as a cage cart, this thing is absolutely a missile. Without the cage on it, it's just too, how do I want to put it, uncontrollable loose. It's just you just can't settle the cart down, and that's not something I'm going to give to a customer. But with the cage cart weighing 390 pounds up to 425 around here, this thing's just absolute missile. And we decided to pull the trigger and start building our own cages. And we're going to put those on with the Assault. And then we noticed a little bit of difference after a while with the Assault, that it just keeps getting better and better. Every time it hits the racetrack, it's just even better than the last time.
So with the Assault, when you decided to put the cage on it and take it out and roll it, did you actually end up getting to bring that cart home that day, or what happened?
Actually, that cart left. So
I think the story's awesome. So you go out there with it and you bolt a cart cage on it, and you go out there and run it in the class, and you don't even get off the scale ramp, and somebody's buying that cart. They're not letting you leave with that cart. It was that fast. Is that not what happened?
Yep, that's exactly what happened. We had a guy walked up to me after watching the cart, and he sat there and told me, he goes, I don't care what the price is, I want that cart. And I had to converse with Dad and all that, and Dad really didn't want to sell it at the time, but it ended up leaving, and we sit there and we talked to Joel, we got everything rolling, and now we're fully rolling with the Assault, and that cart is actually the one that started it. And that's that customer actually returned that cart just a couple weeks ago, just to show memory of it. And we'll be actually racing against it this year at the Adrenaline Series. So it'll be awesome to see that car rolling again.
Absolutely, I agree. And that's the one you referred to that has won 13 times and has not lost yet, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that is just phenomenal. For being a prototype and something you guys just decided to do, it was a go-kart and you made it into a cage cart. That is just...
And it was a cart that didn't work well, and they hung it up and said, yeah, forget that thing, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Things turn around.
That's just amazing to me. Great story. I love that.
Yep. Well, it just shows the versatility of our carts. That's what we strive for. Again, like I sit there and talked before, we build a cart, and my main thing is customer satisfaction. If I can't have a customer jump on it that's new and be able to work with it right out of the get-go, I don't produce it. We keep customer in mind, and I know somebody's got an old legend sitting back at home, and me and Joel actually just talked about it before I called him the show, and it's absolutely awesome that we got a legend guy already on the show here with us. So
yeah, I've been running that stuff, and I am loyal. So yes, it is awesome, and I do love the chassis. They work good for me. So I'm a little biased on this one, and everybody's probably figured that out by now. But I've got to admit, I mean, I only knew of the Matrix. I didn't have any idea of the Assassin or the whole 4-stroke line. So that's why I turned this show this week and next week into a 2-day or 2-week show, was because I think it the 4-strokes are coming. They're here to stay. I'm a 2-stroke guy. That's where it is. That's where I race. But the 4-strokes are here to stay, and I'm so glad to hear and see what you guys are doing. So the Assassin, how long have you guys actually been producing the Assassin then?
It just hit production line, actually. We finally got the final production made of it after Lincoln, Nebraska. We took it indoors. We raced a lot of indoors around here come winter time, and we sit there and took it back to the shop, cut it up, and I sat there and told Joel what we were doing. And we took it there after the turkey chase for the New Year's race, and the changes that we made to it, just night and day difference on it. So we went ahead and released it. It's coming out. We'll have full production of it here within the next month. And just so everybody knows, price on it, it's $22.50. I mean, that's without a seat. That's just a complete roller. And the thing's just, I can't describe how fast it is absolutely through the corner. That's the one thing that a couple of guys I race with all the time have told me. Says that's unreal how fast it is through the corner. We decided actually to name it, and I'll give the story behind the name of it is my son is deciding to start to race, and when he seen the prototype sitting at the shop, he looked at me, he's 5 years old, and he goes, "Dad, that go-kart's pretty cool." And I go, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, pick a name for it." And he goes, "Call it the Assassin." So that's how the name got stuck to it. So
Nice.
that was kind of how it went through.
There's nothing wrong with that. I like the name. It's catchy, and the chassis sounds like it's going to be fast. So people, where can they find you at? I know you got something on Facebook. Is that pretty much the best way to get a hold of you guys and answer questions and make orders happen, or how does the best way?
Yep, you can get on Legend Racing Chassis right there on Facebook. You can contact myself, Bryan Nevins Jr. on Facebook. You can get on the Assassin Tire Solutions. And contact us that way, place orders through there. You can contact Logan Negus on Facebook or Joel Negus on Facebook and get contact with them.
Joel's pretty much trying to step away from most of the salesman portion of it, though, right? He's pretty much trying to stick in the shop, head down, and welding stuff together, though. That's his.
Yep. That's kind of where I become the person to really talk about it. I'm the tech support for it all the way through now. I've done a lot of refreshing on the old Legend stuff, just so I know for anybody that's got the old Legend stuff, they can contact me. Mainly through it all, you got me and Logan. Logan's on the Facebook page, kind of running it for us. And if he's got any questions that he can't answer, then he turns to me on it. But mainly, orders and all that really kind of go through me, and on the HP side of it, it's all through Jason.
Right. Perfect. So there you have it, folks. Look him up, find him on Facebook, whether it be the Legend or himself. And I just see here that his nickname is the Ace. Nice. You want to elaborate on that at all before we let you go?
Well, actually, that nickname got stuck to me from my grandmother. Fortunately, she passed away, but her and my dad were having a talk down at the lake house, and she said that I was from Iowa, and I literally was her ace in the hole. So that's how I got my nickname, and it stuck. So.
Nice. I like it. Well, listen, Bryan, I thank you very much for your time. It was very educational, and I'm glad to hear your guys are heading in that direction and, trying to, I won't say reinvent because it's been around for a while, but you're definitely trying to go in a new direction, and that's really what keeps all of this relevant, and I'm very glad to hear that. So thank you very much, and thank Joel.
I just have one question. When you come into the BK?
Well, that has been talked about. It's as soon as I can get everything put together, I think I might be shipping the card out there to come race with you guys.
Yeah, baby.
Let me know what I can do.
I will definitely be in contact with you. We actually got a couple posts there on the Legend page when we first made it that there was a couple BK cards that Legend won up there. There was a couple classes. So that was really cool to see right out of get-go on the page. Through that race, and it got me really interested in it. So we've been doing a little bit of research on it, and hopefully I'll be shipping the card out there and flying out there here the next time it comes about.
Yeah, it's like no other race you've probably ever been to. I mean,
well, for us out here, it's a big race. I haven't been back east, so I can't compare it to any
Chris
of your
C.
guys'
liked
stuff.
it.
Well, yeah, Chris C. liked it.
Chris C. said it was one of the toughest indoor races he'd been to. So
hey, Bryan, I'll make you a deal.
Yeah.
I might be switching chassis next year in our program, maybe putting together a couple new ones. Maybe we'd have to have you come out here and show us how to set these things up and make them go fast.
There you go.
Definitely, I can do that.
That's a way to get him out here.
Yeah, Ronnie's got an arrive and drive setup that he's got, Product 41, and so he's got 2 cars that he's been doing this winter, and they've been doing pretty good. But
been doing excellent.
Definitely be in contact with me because we can definitely work something out with you. And trust me, my phone never turns off, so it don't matter what time of night. You can give me a call, and I'll walk you through anything, especially chassis-wise.
Yep, that's great.
That's a fact, folks. I've been rattling his cage for a while, and he's always answering. So I appreciate it, Bryan.
Yep.
We won't take up any more of your time or burn up any more minutes. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. And everybody stay tuned for next week, and we'll have the M5 guy on.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, Bryan.
thanks, Bryan.
Thanks, Bryan. Take it easy. I'll be calling you.
You too.
All right, everybody. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Racer. Word Racing now has a brand new location in Clackamas, Oregon at 15648 Southeast 114th Avenue, Suite 110, next to Highway 212 and conveniently located close to the I-205 freeway. They have what you need to race fast and race safe with product lines like ZAMP, Z-Tech, Pyrotech, GripTech, Armadillo, and the 360 Plus device. And that's not all. Chains, wheels, tires, lubricants, and the Northwest distributor for the innovative and made-in-America iCart chassis and the new X125 engine. New or used, arrive and drive, coaching and tuning. Word Racing's got you covered from start to finish. You're winning trackside support since 2007. For more information, call 503-869-4970 or check them out on Facebook and on the web at wordracing.com. All right. Bryan Nevins Jr. seemed like a pretty good guy. Seemed like a really good guy.
Yeah.
He's excited about his product. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. You have to be if you're building them.
Absolutely. That is a fact. Ronnie Swire, so let's talk a little bit about product41.com for just maybe some of those that have seen that you're in the dirt, but you're more than just dirt. So tell us a little bit about product41.com.
Well, I started off, there was kind of a, with my coaching business and things like that, always being at the racetracks, working with new racers, track day guys, racers, things like that, wanting product, wanting helmets. Where do I buy the stuff? Where do I get it? I just felt there might be a need there to have stuff for guys so I can help them along, not just with the accessories that we sell, but also just the knowledge of the track. There's many times I've gone to the track. I'll tell you a short story. I was at Oregon Raceway Park here a couple of years ago, and there was some guys in the Ford Focus STs. And we have those cars at the track at Ford Racing School. We have a bunch of them. And so I'm pretty familiar with the car. And I walked up on this group of guys, and they said, this guy's talking about having a custom set of rear springs made for his car.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm no shock and spring guy, but there's a lot that goes into that stuff.
Right.
And I said,
No
so
doubt
what's the car doing? He said, it just won't turn and all this stuff. And I said, well, what are your tire pressures? And he said, well, they were 48. And I said, 48 when you came off the track or 48 when you started? Well, they're 48 when I left home this morning. I'm like, well, first off, do you mind if I make a quick tire pressure change for you? He said, yeah, no problem. So I took 8 pounds out of the front tires, and he came back in and just was amazed that how much difference basic tire pressure change in the car made for him. So here this guy goes from wanting to make a custom set of rear springs, who has no track experience at all. So I'm not sure how he thought that the rear springs were going to solve his problem.
Right.
So I kind of started thinking there's so many of these guys that need help along the way. Just how do I do it? What do I do? Do I need a jack? Do I need a spare set of tires? And so that's where I started thinking about having things for drivers based around the driver themselves, helmets, neck restraints, the data acquisition type stuff. So that's kind of what started, or how I started Product 41. And then literally a year ago, December, I was a spectator at Salem. So that's what got me involved in the dirt. Was just I went down there with Kyle Keenan, and I think the first person I contacted was Steve King. I came across the 206 page and said, "Hey, where do I rent one of these things? I want to try one out." Well, nobody's got anything. So I went down, hung out with Kyle, and and then decided, hey, let's do this program. So when I started the dirt program down in Salem, I didn't know if I should brand it under Ronnie Swires Motor Racing LLC, which is the corporate umbrella, the corporate company, or Product 41. So I chose a Product 41, and just because it helps brand the website, and being down there with the drivers. So, I guess that kind of answers your question. I just kind of fell into it.
Well, it's really it's helmets, data acquisition parts and pieces for anything that's MyLaps or OMB.
Yep, anything driver related. Suits. We've got a new glove line coming, a new shoe line I think's in the works, and just things based right now anyway around the driver. And then I'll see where it goes. I wanted to start off and start there. And I don't want to be the, I always said I don't want a hot dog stand. I don't want to go to the track and open the doors up and I'm selling duct tape and baling wire. I want things that are they're around the driver's needs and help, because that's what I like to do. I love to help the drivers. That's what I do. So I'll see where it goes. I'll see what other product lines that look interesting to me that would be a help to the drivers. So. A lot of guys have approached me. Well, you should, why don't you want to open a cart shop? Or you should be a dealer for this chassis or all this stuff. I don't want to be a cart shop. I'm set up to buy and purchase the things I need to run our program, which was the goal for the go-karting scene. But I don't want to get into a cart shop necessarily, so to speak.
But so let's say, for example, data acquisition wise, what do you carry? You carry the Micron.
For karting, obviously the Micron 5 is the industry standard. I think it's probably the only one out there. So that's a small part of what I do as far as the data acquisition stuff. More so what I do is the automotive side.
But do you have replacement parts and pieces for those things?
They kind of work or don't. But as far as not for the Micron 5, but your cables. So say you need an EGT sensor or cylinder head temperature, water temp sensor, patch cables, expansion boxes, all those other types of things. Yes, I have all that stuff.
Cool.
Yep.
I think his arrive and drive is the biggest thing, and his intuition to get into the 206 was phenomenal. I mean, that class this winter just exploded, and I think that's mostly, because of participation like he's been giving it. It's been a great deal in a great class, so competitive. And
I know he was a little bit concerned on dollars, right? Because it's initially when somebody says how much is it's for, you kind of go, oh. But when you really stop and think about it, by the time you add up everything, you leave home, you get to the track, you pay your entry fee, you go through, you break or bend or whatever, and you eat a hot dog, and by the time it's all said and done, it's a couple, $200-$400 any way you look at it. I mean,
a lot of guys they just think it's a gallon of gas and the entry fee, and
there are some that can do that, but not very many that are winning that are doing that.
And to go back, what you said about the 206 class, the reason why I picked that is I kind of looked at it and I said, well, where can I go and make the most impact for the least amount of money to the racer, and for us, because we're learning as well. We're having to learn chassis setup and tires, and fortunately we had Brent Meyer, that approached me and said, hey, if you need some help, man, I'm there. And he's been fantastic for helping us out, and in the connections, Renee Angel, and then getting us with Robbie Yao, and I just got to say, you guys are sitting here in front of me, but everybody listening, I've told a few people, but we have been so welcomed in Salem with open arms, people saying thank you for what you're doing. And, I turn around and say, thank you guys, because I'm the outsider. I'm coming in here playing in your sandbox, and everybody's just been incredibly welcoming for us coming, and it's been awesome. But again, going back to that 206 classes, I need where we can just work on one thing, chassis setup and the driver. I don't want to have to worry about we melted a piston in a KT motor. We got to rebuild the motor. I didn't want to do all that. UAS, all the other stuff and tire prep. No, I want to bring it. It's shiny. It's clean. We work on the chassis. We work on the driver, and we go out and win. Or try to win. So that's why I like that 206 class.
That's the right statement. We go out and win because that's basically what it's been.
Well, we got one class that we're really, we've won in everything, but we still have not won a main event
in heavy
206 heavy, and we've got 2 drivers that are going to be running heavy this weekend. Obviously, Kellen Dean's coming back, and then a surprise driver that's going to come and run.
Oh, you weren't supposed to tell them about me.
That's cool.
Actually, it's really not going to be the driver's already driven there one race already this year, but he's going to make an attempt to come back and.
Is Eric Blois going to continue to do this? I mean, I thought he took to it really well.
Yeah, no, he did awesome. All of our drivers have just picked it up, and of course, everybody we've had has had some racing experience in some form or another, but none of them on the dirt.
Well, that's what I thought was cool about Janders, because that time at PPG,
he hated it. The dirt,
yeah, and then. Seeing him down there, I just kind of went by and went, and then watching him run, go, oh yeah,
right.
Well,
right.
The question was, I thought it was funny was during the, I think it was BK when they were, and he ran heavy, did he not?
BK Jander stepped up, yep, ran heavy,
yeah,
yep.
And so I went over there and I said, so what do you think? And he says, I just got one question for you. I go, what? And he says, how are those guys so fast and heavy? I mean, there's a difference. Those guys are. I mean, not taking away anything from light,
right?
But I mean, you've got some real. I mean, you got Bryan Green that's got, I don't know. He's got 10 Duffys. I mean, you've got Hatch who's got Duffy. You've got, Norman is the Duffy winner. I mean, you got some Grand National caliber talent in there.
It's a very deep field of experience.
Yeah,
there.
Exactly.
So it's not that the lights drivers don't go out and turn the same lap time as a heavy, or they're close, or maybe even a touch faster. It's that the heavy guys do it every single time and make no mistakes. I remember that one race I ran. Hatch ended up getting me in the somewhere, I can't remember what it was, and I came in, I looked at him at the scale, I said, I made one mistake, and he looks at me and he says, welcome to the dirt.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Yeah. But the testament is, look at Rutledge.
Rutledge, yeah,
he came in and he's right up in the front.
Yes.
And I've never seen him anywhere before, but yet he's right up in the front. So it can be done with your homework. It can be done.
Well, it's so interesting about that because he won that one race. And I tell all the drivers that come and drive with us now, and I talk to people outside the sport that are interested in it, and I say, that's the thing about this 206 class, is that there's 15, 16 guys, and there's 8 of them that can win on any given day. Rutledge won. The very next race, I'm walking down there shaking everybody's hand. I get back. He was like starting the main in like 12th, and I looked at him. I looked up front. I'm like, what? He's like,
That's
where it is.
He wrote a 0 in a minute if you're not.
But that just shows you the depth of that class and the quality of the drivers.
And that class is going to do nothing but grow.
I hope it does. We struggle in the summertime, but the wintertime, it is the place to be. Well, no doubt about it.
I don't foresee it continue. I mean, maybe, but I mean, who's really done or really tried to really do anything for the 206s in the summer? I mean, we hardly anything, right?
We had 3 last summer, and that was it. We had Rutledge that came up. We had Williams that was there every race, and Vickers, and that was it. That was all of our 206s that showed up.
Do any of those guys run pavement in the summertime? No. So it looks like that all your Normandins and Greens and those guys, they all go run the pavement in the summertime. Fair weather drivers probably, like I'm a fair weather golfer. And then it's like, there's no place to run. We can't, it's rainy. We don't get wet and all that stuff. So just go run Salem in winter. So I mean, they're racers. They want to race. They're just doing.
But if there was a big 206 show somewhere, somebody were to say, "Hey, we're putting this out." I mean, I'm sure they would come out for it.
I would think so.
I hope.
Yeah, I mean, like one time's deal when he had the summer the KT
and the F200.
Right. I mean, if somebody were to do that with the 206 and who knows? Maybe you can get some World Formulas involved.
Are they talking about running the Medford deal down there, May? Brent Meyer and I were just talking about today the Medford race down there, and
that's the May 18th and 19th. That's going to seal the deal on whether or not Mr. Passanante is truly the quickest KT on the West Coast. He's right there, but I hope Welker shows. I hope none of them guys will show.
Not a one.
Why?
Unfortunately, before they set their schedule at Medford, they had a big race, West Coast KT series, already set up in SoCal. It was already on the books. It was already set up. So, unfortunately,
there's a race on top of it.
There was a race already on the date that they made. So it is gonna,
and there's probably so many schedules out there. It's hard for anybody to just say, "Hey, we're picking the date." And as soon as you start looking around at schedules, like
that's why I think there should be. They have that WARPA thing for all the other. I truly think that it could use a promoters an annual thing where people get together and we say, "Hey, here's what we're thinking. Here's what we're doing." You guys, because that would have been a perfect thing to say, "Hey, well, we're talking about doing our West Coast KT series. Maybe we could make that a stop on just the one far away one that we make it a stop, and then we could decide who is the fastest one on the West Coast, and then."
It's very unfortunate. They have a UAS race and a KT race on the same weekend, and they're billing it as just as big as the one that is going to be in Medford. So it's unfortunate.
Well, we built it first. I want them to know.
No, they had their schedule before Medford had theirs, for sure.
Now, did they have it before the well?
I'm supporting Medford, so I will be in Medford with a couple KTs for sure. We're going to be down there and storm the place because we're looking to bring it up north. But and really just bear with us, folks. It's a scheduling conflict that didn't and wasn't meant to happen. It happened, but it's what we were dealt. Medford, we got back a hold of Speed City. And they tried to change the date. It couldn't be changed. Medford stuck to it. This is what you get. This is where we're going to do it. So that's the way it is. Just all I can say is everybody up here in the Northwest, go down and support it. Make it happen. Next year it's going to be even better because we are going to try to, work schedules together so that we can get everybody together. But this year it's just the way it is.
Oh, no.
It's the way it happens.
Now it's going to be a north versus south.
There you go. Let's make it happen, and let's bring on the 206. Bring it on. And
now you're sounding like Livingston.
We need pro.
That's it. It ticks me off, man. Now it's a war.
California hot.
That's right. Now it's a war.
Let's do a pro 206.
Well, yeah. Let's do that.
Somebody mentioned that like the heavy should be pro. It's like
define.
I'm
pro,
just going
though.
out. Well,
what is pro?
I don't know. To me, it's. Well, yeah. There's a lot of things. If you win money, so technically what we're running now is pro because there's money involved if you win. So technically that would be classified as pro. But I think let's go back to Salem for a minute. I think it'd be really awesome in the heavy class. Call it pro. You want to throw weight on your cart and run pro? Throw weight on your cart and run pro, and make that entry fee instead of $40, make it $60, $65, and that 25 plus what they've already committed to paying out goes in the pot.
See, there you go.
I would love to see it. I know it's another $25 to go down there, but
if it's going back to the racer,
exactly. I think it just builds the depth of the field. So again, it's somebody brought that up a couple shows ago. I heard somebody in Salem saying, it should be called the pro.
I know. I wish they had a 206 an IROC 206, right? Where you get the guns in there.
Kevin Bridges says, "Make it 100." I'm game, man. Let's do it.
Well, and
he gets to run a UAS cart.
Yeah.
Nitrous.
I think you give them the chance and do that. I mean, as long as we're not taking away from the promoters portion of it, and you're just adding it on to the purse.
Sure.
Why not? People are going to be excited about that. Who wouldn't want to make $500 instead of $130?
Sure.
I seen the deal over at Spokane at the Drags. Went over there one time with a friend of mine, and they had a quick 16, and They walked down through before these guys got all started and says, give us another $100 and we'll all throw it in. We'll throw it into the pot. There 16 of them guys threw another $100 into that pot.
Wow.
I mean, it was $2,700 to win that quick 16.
Sure.
That was a tough class
drag
back
race?
then.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough class back then. Quick 16.
But I mean, of course, Spokane, it was really funny because Spokane was AHRA, then kind of an outlaw track. I'm standing there, I'm looking, like, they actually get to race something like this? It was like, oh my gosh. There was guys carrying around gallons of VHT. There's more VHT between the burnout box and the starting line there was on the track the rest of the way down. It was crazy.
Well, that's cool though. That's what makes everything tick. I mean, that's awesome.
Kevin Bridges chimed in here again and said it won't be big unless you make it big. Well, exactly. And that's like anything. That's like Medford. That's anything we're talking about. It's all the same thing. You have to start somewhere. And I think Salem, the 206 thing here, I think it's starting to catch on in other parts of the country. The clone thing's big, obviously.
Yep.
Guys the 206 is looking more appealing. I think here it's the same thing where we've got something good going.
Well, I think it was Bryan Rushing. I think it was Rushing, maybe. But it said basically, I said, what's the deal back there? How do they? What? And I never thought of this, but he said, well, it's basically the engine builders and Maxxis, and they put up the money. So Maxxis puts up $5,000 or $10,000 for a show, and they make $50,000 or whatever it is, because and really the money that they pay out is only coming basically right back to them because those guys are going to buy tires.
Absolutely.
So they're just basically funding business. They're paying those guys to continue to come
and buy their
tires.
Right.
And that makes good sense. I mean, and the engine builders too. They're putting in some money too. So so they're constantly keeping themselves afloat. I guess. I mean, more than they would otherwise. I mean, I don't know. I wish one thing would catch on like that out here, where we could have, I mean, they're getting huge. I mean, you just can't believe it. I mean,
well, I've talked the other night. I was on the phone. I've talked to several guys back east there now. Kurt Burris turned a guy on to me. His name will come to me in a minute. Who's running the same type of program I am in Ohio, an arrive and drive program.
Mm-hmm.
Him and I were sharing some stories. And then, we talk about the number of entries they get back there. You and I have had the conversation several times. 700 entries. Wow. I mean, it's unbelievable. But again, you have the density of population back in those areas that we just don't have here. They do have a benefit.
Racetracks. You go out on your front porch, there's a racetrack within 40 miles any direction you go.
Yep.
So
and unfortunately, we live in Portland, Oregon,
and
Washington.
And people hate racetracks out here.
Yeah.
You mentioned racetrack, and they're saying we're suing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, but hopefully that will be. But you're right, Lippy. I hope everybody with a KT, even if you don't think you have it, you need to come and support this deal. It's so much more than just the race. It's getting everybody together. It's the hanging out. It's the afterwards. I think you and I talked too. I mean, that's one of the greatest things about our sport is the people involved in it.
Absolutely.
I think so too, and I think Ronnie's on to something. I think a Friday night with a KT main event and a 206 main event would be just, a topper on the night. It would be a good deal. And if everybody comes down and supports this deal, it's going to be an annual deal, and that's what we want. We want people to come down and support it and make an annual deal out of it. Yeah, this year it's not going to be the best, but it's a starting point. It's a building zone. It's it's a good location. Everybody needs.
You got to crawl before you walk.
What's that old saying? Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly.
Something like that.
And then to have the UAS on the day after that, it's just. It couldn't get any better for me. It's just it's going to be a great deal.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being down there for sure.
Absolutely, and hats off to Speed City for putting all this on and taking the brunt of it and making it all happen. That's what it takes. It takes people to do that to make it all happen.
It really does.
And the easiest way to repay them
It's to show up. That's what I've
Show
said
up.
all the time.
Yep.
They appreciate the thank yous that you write, but
that doesn't make it. That,
Well,
it doesn't. The
that
best
doesn't
way
make
to
it
do
The
it.
thank you is your cart
Showing
being
up.
there.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
And I will be there.
That's awesome. So this weekend, Salem, the finale. This is the ender. I know Fowl said he's coming. His cart was bent up pretty bad, so he's got another one all thrown together. I don't know if he'll be fast, but I'll be curious to see if Brandon Day hangs on to win that because I think he's in the.
He is leading.
Yeah,
And well
So-
deserved. He's
Yeah.
been there.
yeah, for sure. So appreciate our guest, Bryan Nevins Jr. from Legend, the Four-Stroke. He's very excited about his product.
He's got a good product. So
if you were leaning on the fence, he's as excited about it as Jason Williams was for Charger. So and Brandon Ard. So
and y'all heard it here first. It hasn't even been released yet. Their build date isn't even starting until the end of this month, I believe. So if you get on the list, you're going to be getting something brand new. They only have prototypes out there.
yeah. So hey, hopefully you guys are liking this this chassis month thing. I mean, we're gonna kind of see it through. We got another one gave to Lippy and the iCart, which is an asphalt car, but we're not biased here. It's just what we do is mainly dirt. So asphalt guys, don't be afraid to come and say something because we're about the sport. It's not just dirt. So it's just when you go and that's what you do mostly of. That's kind of what you report on. So.
And it's so damn much fun. I mean,
Isn't
I'm a
it?
pavement guy. I went down there, and a year later, look what I got myself into.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can't believe it.
That's what I mean.
90-foot trailer, parts in
Jesus.
handicap zones.
It only took me.
Hey. Kyle Keenan's
It
gonna get
only
it for
took
that.
me 5
I'm
years
telling
to
you.
get Dean down here. I kept telling them,
Oh,
man,
he's
you
hooked.
guys, I mean,
he is hooked. David and I have had some good conversations here since last race. Of course, he'll be back down again running Friday and Saturday. And he told me, he says, you know, Ronnie, he says, Kellen's been racing a long time, and he's pretty good. He goes, but, man, he cannot stop talking about running Salem.
I
mean,
know.
He
It's-
is. That's what our goal was, is to bring these new people.
It
It's
becomes
not-
infectious.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you run pavement. That's great, but let's just go try it.
Lippy, how many times have we heard that same thing? You know, I mean,
I was just going to chime in on that because, I've been told by so many guys that do run the asphalt, that have run it for years, and they come down and they spend a couple races with us, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe how much better of a racer I have become from running on the dirt.
Yeah.
Because, you are very much on the edge of being out of control. So, on the asphalt, you don't have that sensation, I'm told. I've never done it, but I'm told you don't have that sensation as much.
We need to. We're going to jump you in my shifter cart. We're going to go right to like UAS. Right.
Patsy.
We're going to get you there.
well, and it doesn't have to be your first love. I mean, pavement can still be I hear that all the time. I don't really, dirt's not something. It's not about that.
We're racers. It doesn't matter.
It's
I tell
about
guys,
the experiencing it,
speed,
and
all that stuff. I tell guys, you could be racing tricycles. If there's 10 guys to beat, a racer wants to do it.
Yep. And I'm telling you, I don't care what anybody says, it's a different atmosphere than on the pavement too. It's just it's a little bit less tense. It's a little bit more laid back. The racing's still intense, but it's I agree. A whole different whole different vibe.
Yep.
Asphalt's for getting there, dirt's for racing. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
Oh, here we go. The wheels are falling off. Here we go. Leave it to Eden to start that.
Oh, look what time it is, guys. Time to go.
Just in the nick of time. Rick Collins, thanks for tuning in. I'm a sprint guy. I ran the dirt twice and loved it.
There
See?
we go.
So
Right there.
that's what I mean.
Mr. Collins,
Yep. July 7th. Oh, yeah. This is the Castle Rock. July 7th and August 17th, 18th. Is that correct?
That is when CKA is slated to be out there. We will know on Monday. They are having the motorcycle club's having their meeting on Monday, and we will confirm our dates with them Then I have secured the dates at Rainier, so June 19th and July 21st, both of those dates are saved and secured. We will be at Rainier on those dates. It'll be 3-day races, Friday practice, Saturday race, Sunday fun race. We're probably going to do a Predator one time and a 206 endurance race the next time. So, and we'll have a rain out date of September 8th if either one of those do not happen.
And Craig Collins says, Terry, Lippy, what you guys need to do is try to talk to the Puyallup Fairgrounds and try to run a race during the spring fair at the amphitheater.
Ambitious. Help us out with that, Collins.
I missed the question.
There's no answer.
I would the fairgrounds during the spring fair and run a race at the amphitheater.
We're up in
Puyallup.
Puyallup here, yeah. So this is out of Ronnie's element, but yeah, you know we did the spring fair a while back. It was
Is
a
it
great
dirt?
deal. No, I think it is because they run crash up derbies out there. So, but it'd be tough to make a track into that. I mean, it
wasn't there one at Salem last year during the fair? They were
yeah, Bob did one on the outside. Yeah,
Yes.
How'd that go?
it went pretty. Yeah, you know the greatest thing. You can drink beer. That brings everybody, right? If you can drink beer and watch some go-karts race, my God, how much better can it be?
Instant fan base.
Look at the flat track.
they
were climbing off the walls.
They have had some pretty good races at the fair down there in Salem.
Yeah,
they've done that for a few years now.
Right. So, I mean, even if it wasn't the best track, it would just be cool if we had, 8, 10, 15 guys could show up down there and put on a heck of a race, and people could hoot and holler, and, I mean, that would be kind of cool.
It'd be better than a derby, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
We could turn it into a derby, though.
We could.
We were just talking about that earlier.
Yeah, it may turn into that. Who knows?
All right. Well, we kept you overtime. Hey, I want to thank Craig Collins, Rusty Rossmeyer, Kevin Bridges, man, everybody. Daryl Kelso, Chizzy, all the guys for supporting the show. Steve Teal in the house. That's pretty awesome. Brent Meyer.
Product 41.
Yeah, man. And
I'm
Ronnie,
literally in the house.
Ronnie literally is right. So, yeah, we appreciate you being on, Ronnie Swires. Good luck to everybody this weekend. Sam, I will not be there. I will be at, where will I be? Oh, I will be at the Hall of Fame ceremony. Grace Harbor will be doing that.
I'll be there.
Sean in the Dirt.
We'll be there. Brent and I, Kyle.
Yeah. Lippy's going. I heard Knutsen's going. He said he'd see everybody down there, so I don't know if he's racing or if Ronnie's racing or so.
Whites are going down. Watkins are coming over. It's going to be a good race down there.
Good deal. That's
going
out
with
awesome.
a bang.
That's it. That's awesome. The loader.
Don't screw up tonight.
Oh, no. Ernie Comfort's listening. That's right. So, I just appreciate all the support. We hope you're enjoying this chassis month. If you are, man, drop us a note. Let us know. Keep us fired up.
Yeah. Do you want to hear this for another month?
Ronnie Swires.
Yes, sir.
Somebody's on the bottom. For Ernie Comfort, what do you got to do? You've been
Take him on the high side.
There you go,
Take him on the
baby.
high side.
There you go, baby. All right, Ernie. You ain't busting me this week. Hey, we love you guys. We'll see you next week. Take care. Good luck, everybody racing.